In terms of the unionization efforts for UPS, well, a union worker, UPS gentleman, he died because of the heat. And we know that heat waves can be deadly. And of course, not having proper air conditioning and water, working in extreme temperatures is fatal. And that's exactly what happened to a UPS driver. His name is Chris Begley, and he had been working for UPS for 28 years. Yeah, can we put up a picture of him? Yes, that was Mr. Begley, who passed away recently. He was driving for UPS in North Texas. So here are the details that we know per USA Today. Chris Begley, a 28-year UPS veteran, died at a hospital Sunday, 4 days after he suffered a medical emergency at a delivery location. He worked in the city of Farmersville, according to information from local officials and UPS. Begley was described as a loving husband, hoping to retire soon. He also is a father of 2 children. And the thing is, nobody should have to work in extreme conditions. And as I understand, this was something that the UPS drivers were addressing in their efforts in terms of holding out and potentially going on strike because they wanted better working conditions. And I'll tell you about the day that Mr. Begley had collapsed on the job. It happened to be 103 degrees. And in a statement, UPS claims that Begley refused medical attention multiple times and that the supervisor drove Begley home upon his request. Begley was given several days off work before going to the hospital on Sunday, where he died later that day. UPS was notified of his death on Monday. The statement continues, we are cooperating with the authorities as they continue to investigate the cause of death. We train our people to recognize the symptoms of heat stress, and we respond immediately to any request for help. But this statement that was made, it kind of seems like it was made to protect the company. A company that possibly was well aware that their vehicles could be very deadly environments given that they have no air conditioning. And you have plenty of places around the country with heat indexes over 120 degrees as a result of climate change. And unfortunately, as we know, this isn't really new. The situations like this are only going to continue unless there is some real change being made. So when it comes to at least USPS trucks, that's with the mail service provided by the United States government, well, the situation seems to be even worse and more infuriating. Nearly 70% of USPS trucks do not have air conditioning, and many lack basic safety measures such as airbags and anti-lock brakes. At UPS, not only do vehicles not have air conditioning, but the company pays to remove the air conditioning units from newly purchased vehicles in order to cut down on the cost of fuel. The trucks are not ventilated, and the temperatures inside the trucks can reach 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, wow. I think that's something that we've known for a while. And also we see these drivers going around where the doors are open on the cars. And I'm sure that's so they can jump in and out easily, bringing packages in and out. At the same time, removing the air conditioning so that the gas and the air conditioning doesn't run. Yeah, it really tells you that UPS doesn't care. And I'm kind of thinking that the reason this happens is because UPS realizes that the amount of money it's going to have to pay in these wrongful death lawsuits won't exceed the amount of money that having air conditioning units run in these trucks will cost. This is a cost benefit analysis made by a company. It would rather pay for lawsuit damages because they know it'll be a whole lot less than actually putting AC units and allowing them to run in vehicles. This is really disgusting in terms of elevating, maximizing the elevation of profits over preserving human life. Jordan, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. You summed it up perfectly. This is a company that knew what they were doing, and they did it because they wanted to increase profits. I mean, last year or 2 years ago, UPS had record profits. I mean, they bring in billions and billions every year, and the workers suffer. And even when the workers tried to initially collectively bargain for better working conditions, including AC in their trucks, more robust living wages, UPS strong-armed them. They strung them out for months. Finally, they acquiesced, and the union won. They got a good contract and they just ratified it. That's great, but the thing is, this should have been happening years ago. They should have been keeping. I can't even believe they were taking it out. But it just shows how greedy they were. Like deliberately taking the AC units out of these trucks just to cut down on costs is just Baffling. And as you add in climate change, it's only going to get worse. So thankfully they want a contract, but we'll see how quickly UPS gets around to putting AC back in these trucks and keeping them in new ones. But God, I really hope everybody who is working for UPS right now and has to deal with these conditions remains safe, because climate change is only getting worse.
Yeah, it is only getting worse, and people are sacrificing their lives trying to fulfill their obligations working for UPS. No one should have to do that. The thing is, what do we see for the first quarter earnings for UPS? Profit was 2.5 billion. They made 2.5 billion. And of course, they're not happy with that, saying it's down almost 22% compared to the first quarter of 2022. Still, it's 2.5 billion. That's what you made in terms of your profit. Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? At what point do we say we don't need to make more, that the actual benefit of keeping our workers alive and not risking their health and their safety is more valuable to us than continuing to compound on the billions of dollars in profit we already make, sacrificing their lives? It's just wild to me. And the thing is this isn't the first time that this issue has come to pass. Kroger warehouse worker dies of heat-related illness in Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, veteran letter carrier dies in Dallas, Texas heat wave. Southern California UPS driver dies from heat stroke. Wow. This is happening across the country, but again, these companies, these entities will, because they realize paying the wrongful death lawsuits will cost them less than providing these workers with humane standards and work environments. It's just sick. Any final closing thoughts, Jordan?
I can't underscore enough that point you're making, that they know these wrongful death lawsuits or any sort of liability that they might be subject to. Like that is absolutely a calculation that many companies make. If they are making a product and they know there's a risk, they will look at, okay, we'll estimate this might hurt or kill X amount of people, but we've already got so much money sunk into this project, we have to put it out to market. As long as, whatever we might owe in liability, it doesn't exceed how much we will make, they will do it. And they know going into this that there is a risk that people, unsuspecting innocent people, could be hurt or killed by their products, by their services, in this case, by how they run their company. As long as the profit number is higher, they do not care. I cannot stress enough to what Adrienne is saying. That is a very real calculation that many companies make. They do not care about you.
Absolutely. What is it in the opening scenes of Fight Club? That's exactly what the main character does for a living. Doing the assessments of, will it cost us more to pay out the damages in lawsuits than it will be to make the actual changes to the product or the item so it doesn't hurt and kill people. But this is exactly what it shows us, that they will always put profits over people, which I will say the only way to change this is, number one, definitely to have verdicts that are extraordinarily high in punitive damages for these companies, even though the US Supreme Court will find ways to knock it down, but still sending that message from the jury box when you're dealing with these wrongful death cases. And on top of that, electing leaders who will change laws to penalize these companies that continue to put profits over people.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.